Welcome to The Explainer. Stepping into the property market for the first time, or even the fifth time, can honestly feel like you're trying to navigate a giant maze blindfolded. Whether you're hunting for your very first rental apartment, locking down a family home, or trying to manage an investment property, it is a lot to handle. But today, we're going to completely clear that path for you. Think of This Explainer as your ultimate property survival guidebook. We are going to map out the entire real estate journey from start to finish using the absolute latest market insights and expert advice to make sure you're making the smartest possible decisions.
To really understand where the property market is at today, you have to grasp the sheer scale of the development happening all around us. We are talking about massive, multi-million kina transformations happening right before our eyes. Entire beachfronts and newly established commercial zones are completely evolving, like the massive Paga Hill Special Economic Zone development. It is a highly dynamic, incredibly fast-changing landscape. And what that means for us is that the opportunities are absolutely huge, but the stakes, well, they're equally high.
And because the market is booming like this, opening up the property classifieds right now feels like diving into an absolute sea of listings. You've got 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, high-sets, sprawling apartments, commercial spaces. It's incredibly overwhelming. And without a clear strategy in place, it is entirely too easy to just get lost in the sheer volume of it all. That is exactly why we need a highly structured approach to making these big property decisions.
Okay, let's dive into this. To make sense of the chaos, we've broken the property lifecycle down into a 4-part roadmap. Number 1, the changing property landscape. Number 2, finding the right fit. Number 3, navigating leases and purchases. And finally, number 4, maximizing your property value.
Starting us off with Section 1, the changing property landscape. We're talking booming developments and housing estates.
So, the current market is really being defined by these massive, game-changing investments. For example, take the Paga Hill Paradise project. We are looking at a staggering K250 million 22-story residential tower. Projects of this magnitude aren't just creating luxury beachfront hubs, they are generating massive economic ripples across the board, including the creation of around 800 brand new jobs. And at the exact same time, we're seeing this huge growth in planned housing estates that offer modern infrastructure, energy efficiency, and top-tier security. The market is maturing rapidly, which is great because it gives buyers and renters much better, albeit slightly more complex, options.
Moving right along to Section 2, finding the right fit, making those crucial space and location decisions.
Now, here is a classic real estate debate. Do you go for 2 bedrooms or 3? At first glance, a 2-bedroom feels like the absolute no-brainer for a couple or a single professional, right? It's got a lower initial cost and it's way easier to maintain. But when you actually look at the long-term data, stretching your budget just a bit for a 3-bedroom house offers some incredible hidden advantages. That 3rd bedroom gives you built-in future-proofing if your family grows, it commands a significantly higher resale value later on, and the rental potential is amazing, especially if you ever decide to rent out that extra room to help offset your mortgage.
But hey, the house itself, that's really only half the equation. The location is the whole rest of the story. Before you even think about packing boxes for a new suburb, you absolutely have to run through this checklist. Ask yourself, what is the actual commute time going to be during rush hour? Does the overall vibe of the neighborhood actually match your lifestyle? How close are you to hospitals and grocery stores? And have you actually taken the time to research the local crime rates? Please, don't let a beautiful house blind you to a terrible commute or a neighborhood where you won't feel secure.
All right, Section 3, navigating leases and purchases. Basically, the fine print of securing your property.
If you're renting, let's be honest, a lease agreement can look like a terrifying wall of legal jargon. But we can easily break it down into 4 highly digestible, absolutely non-negotiable steps. First up, ensure every single adult living in the home is actually named on the lease to protect yourself. Second, nail down the exact rent amount, the grace periods, and exactly what it takes to get your security deposit back. Third, you have to explicitly clarify who fixes what. Does the landlord fix a leaky roof, or is that suddenly on you? And fourth, fully understand the termination clauses and prohibited behaviors. The takeaway here? Never, ever sign until these 4 points are crystal clear.
Now, if you are buying, treat this pre-purchase inspection checklist like your absolute Bible. Remember, a fresh coat of paint can hide a multitude of really expensive sins. You need to get in there and actively look for any sagging in the ceilings. Test every single door, window, and lock. Hunt for subtle signs of water damage on the walls. Go ahead and flush the toilets to test the drainage, and check that the legally required smoke alarms are actually present and working. Missing just one of these items can lead to a massive, unexpected bill down the line. And once you actually buy the place, you obviously need insurance. But
But here is a critical detail so many people overlook: home insurance liability. You'd be surprised how many basic policies totally exclude this crucial coverage. Think about it. If a visitor slips, falls, and gets seriously injured on your property, liability coverage is what protects you against their medical costs and any potential lawsuits. Without it, a single random accident on your property could financially devastate you. Always read the exclusions on your insurance policy.
Now, say you're leasing that property out to someone else. You might be wondering, should I just manage it myself to save cash? Well, this brings us to the property manager. Hiring a pro is very often a brilliant move. They step in and handle all the truly stressful parts, chasing down late rent, screening potential tenants, organizing midnight plumbing emergencies, and most importantly, making sure you stay firmly on the right side of some very complex tenancy laws. It frees up your time and puts a legal shield around your investment.
And that brings us to our final section, Section 4, Maximizing Your Property Value. We're looking at maintenance, painting, and attracting great tenants.
Maximizing value honestly starts with expert maintenance, which is kind of an art form when done right. Take it from Stanley Luanda. He's a 25-year veteran in the coatings industry who literally started out as a simple tradesman and worked his entire way up to an academy manager. He says, "I love seeing the product being applied to protect assets." And that completely hits the nail on the head. Painting isn't just about picking a pretty color. It is literally the primary armor protecting your property against the elements.
So let's clear up one of the most common DIY nightmares out there, knowing when to use a sealer versus when to use a primer. If you are painting a porous or slightly chalky surface, you need a sealer. That's going to bind the surface together and give you essential moisture resistance. But if you are trying to cover up an ugly, dark, old color, or you're painting straight onto wood or metal, you need a primer to create a strong adhesive foundation. If you mix these up and use the wrong base coat, your expensive new paint is just going to peel right off.
Once you've got the correct base down, the top coat is your frontline defense. High-quality exterior paints, like Nippon Paint Q-Shield, for example, are specifically engineered to resist fungus, algae, and really severe weathering. Investing in a durable, highly weather-resistant top coat is the ultimate long-term secret to maintaining your property's curb appeal. It keeps the place looking pristine year after year, which directly locks in its market value.
And look, a beautiful, well-maintained property absolutely deserves great tenants. But if you're looking to rent out your space today, you have to stand out, because the market is crowded. Gone are the days of just hammering a for rent sign in the front yard. Today, you need to leverage social media with slick virtual tours. You absolutely must invest in professional, high-quality photography and consider offering referral bonuses to the good tenants you already have. Honestly, maintaining outstanding landlord-tenant relationships is your absolute best marketing tool. Word of mouth is incredibly powerful in this space.
Finally, setting that perfect rental price. Please, whatever you do, do not just guess. If you price it too high, your property is going to sit totally vacant. If you price it too low, you are just leaving money on the table. You need to follow these 4 precise steps. Deeply research comparable properties in your specific local area. Adjust your expectations for seasonal rental demands, factor in the specific value of any upgrades you've made, like that premium weather-resistant paint job, and finally, consult a professional property manager to make sure your numbers match the reality of the current market.
Well, we have covered a massive amount of ground today, everything from macro market trends right down to the actual chemistry of exterior paint. So, I want to leave you with this one question to think about. Which part of this property life cycle are you going to approach differently on your next move? Are you going to inspect a house a little closer, negotiate a lease a little harder, or maybe seriously reconsider the benefits of that 3-bedroom home? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep asking the hard questions, and I'll catch you next time.